Mr. Singhel, I will, without wasting much of your time, we would like to have this session around corporate risk management, which is the theme of the day, and understand from Mr. Singhel, who is the industry stalwart for more than 30 years of experience in this general insurance industry, who has actually built Bajaj Allianz what it is today, right, from the start and to what it is now and what level it is. And it is our great honor, Mr. Singhel, to have you on this panel. And I think close to about 2,000 members are presently watching you live. And we would definitely, by the end of the session, we would definitely like to take your learnings, your teachings, your guidance on this important aspect of corporate risk management. So, Chairman sir, shall we start the deliberations and the Q&As?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Mr. Singhel, you have been an industry, stalwart for quite some time now. So, to our members, and of course, a lot of members in this session are also practicing. And apart from that, they're also sitting in various corporate, side of the India INC, and they are working in across this field of spheres, whether it is finance, whether it is risk, or whether it is whether it is legal or sectorial, and also insurance. So, what from your point of view, with your experience and size, what are the key, top of the mind 2 or 3 key takeaways that you will like to bring upon from your experience to this audience today?
First and foremost, Rajiv, thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. I think I have a lot of respect for chartered accountants, the kind of understanding that you have of business. I don't know how business would do if you were not supporting business or giving your inputs to business. I think not even in business, even in taxation or anything. So I've always been very, very impressed, and that's why when Rajiv told me that he wants me to be here, I said, okay, I'll come over. I think just to pay my respect to all of you. So my idea of being here is to pay respect to all of you. But let me start with answering the question. The 2-3 things which is my big learning about insurance industry, and from a perspective of somebody whose advice is valuable, like a chartered accountant, talk to your company and people. See, I think one of the big learning is, and I'll let me talk about a small story about myself and then about the corporate, because then I think we relate it more. So when I started working, and like most mothers, I'm sure all of your mothers would also told you the same thing, save something for the rainy day. I think in my time when I was growing up, saving was a big issue. Like, people would insist that you save something for the rainy day. Things can go wrong. And most of us in our early youth, I think whatever we earned, it was either spending on necessities or saving for the rainy day. Now, when I joined the insurance industry, one thing I realized was that if I actually analyze the rainy day, it is just 3 things which can happen. Either I fall ill, so which can cost a lot of expenses. Second, I have an accident, which can cost. Or third, if the assets that I have procured at a personal level, if something goes wrong for that can cost a lot of money. And I realized that all this I can actually buy for less than a couple of meals that I have out with my friend on any day. That was the only cost of it. If I bought insurance, then actually I don't have to worry about saving for rainy day. My money was freed up for actually taking care of whatever desires I had of traveling or looking at things. Now, something similar I see in the corporate world, which I see, the same story I see. Insurance is the least of all priority. And if it has to be taken, it is because the bankers require it or the law of the land requires it. It is not taken from a perspective of risk mitigation or freeing up or securing your balance sheet of risks which can go wrong. I think the classic case is that how many of you would be aware that pandemic as a cover was available? And you must have heard the story of Wimbledon. I think Wimbledon was one who had that cover. And when, because of the pandemic, the losses happened, they received huge money. In fact, we hear of the Tokyo Olympics, if it gets cancelled, there'll be huge, money which would get paid out. So let's say if as a corporate, we had the pandemic cover, you can imagine that all the losses we're talking about, all the economic recession we're talking about, not happen. A simple thing like migrant labors, which triggered of the first wave, would have actually been paid for on the standing charges if we had that cover which was there. Now, that is something which again really interests me, because when I look at insurance, I find it at a very low cost. It offers massive protection. But do we really look at it from that lens? That was one learning which I had over time, and still it is there. The second learning which I had was on the claims side. I think when you look at filing income tax documents, or we look at filing any kind of documents, or even taking a loan, we go through the documents with a lot of detail. But the insurance policy document, we don't even look at it for a single, I think even the time to be spent on that. Very few people actually go through the document to understand what is payable, what is not payable, what are the claims you can trigger, and what is the requirement of it. It's just a couple of pages of document. It's not very complex now. And when a claim happens, that's the time when we pick up the document, and then we say that, no, we did not see the hidden clauses, or there's no hidden clauses. It's very simply put forward. What is paid, what is not paid, That is something which again surprises me, that why don't we spend some time when we're procuring an insurance policy? And last but the least is that why don't we push insurance companies to provide us good cover? We just heard Mr. Sharma speak about the cyber crime going away 500 times. I think he missed a zero. The statement is 5,000 times. The cyber crime has moved up 5,000 times. How many of us at a personal level, let's not talk of corporate right now, I'll talk about later, have taken individual cyber cover? Every day we read about it. And the cost of individual cyber cover is just about 700 rupees for a year for a lakh of cover. That is all. Then for our own companies or companies whom we are attached to, how many of us actually force our insurers to come out with a good cyber liability? The risk is on us. It is such a huge risk. 5,000 times it has moved up in just the pandemic time. Have we looked at it? So these are 2-3 things which comes to my mind immediately, because something which I've been assured for such a long time, and I find it so fascinating. And the cost of it is phenomenally low compared to all the expenses that you have. If you look at insurance expense to overall expense, just try and match it together. You're surprised to see it hardly costs anything. Is this a place where we just do mandatory insurance, or do we really look into it from a risk mitigation perspective? Is the point that I had.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all agree that insurance is just like especially in this part of India, what we have also observed over time in corporates, that it's just a tick box, it's just a compulsion, it's just a piece of paper, that people buy. There are very few people who actually go through the contract, buy the insurance, from the point of view of actually a risk mitigating tool, and ensure themselves that they are right on. They have covered most of the insurable risks, so to say, which affects their balance sheet items. Very well said on this subject. So, Mr. Singhel, taking this question forward, and the importance of insurance, which is low presently, in our part of geography. What do you think should be the approach? And since we are on this corporate risk management, what do you think should be the approach to give the direction to this insurance, so that the people in corporate, sitting today in the corporate and handling insurance as one of the sub functions, take this approach, take your advice and guidance, and see this as a sincere risk mitigating tool, and just not purely a compulsion or a tick, or from a compulsion from the bankers, sir?
This is a very good question, Rajiv. Now, again, here what happens is I see a lot of corporates, when I do business with them, they say ki itna premium diya hai, I paid so much premium, and this is the kind of claims I'm getting. This is the amount of claims I'm getting. This is not a transaction in which every year you pay some premium and you should get the equal amount of claims back. That is not the way it has to be seen into. Now, why I tell this is simply because a lot of companies actually try to look at all the small claims, that, and how do they cover that, and how should they take that. Now, that enhances your premium and does not give you, the requisite balance sheet protection that you're actually looking for. So the idea when you're finalizing an insurance contract is simply, first and foremost, look at your balance sheet. Look at what risks will upset your balance sheet, what events will upset your balance sheet, and what is the amount which you cannot bear. I'll tell you why it is so. So when you allow small claims, to become part of contract, and you're taking small claims with the feeling that, okay, I'm paying premium, I'm getting the claims back. In fact, you pay higher premium because you're taking so many small claims. What happens for the corporates is that the risk handling, or the looking at why the small claims are happening, or the way they cut the process or systems in place, takes a backseat. The idea is claim is getting through. So which is detrimental to the corporate in the long run. So let me give you small examples of marine claims. Like claims when a truck is moving, and because it is passing through, let's say, on the top you have all these branches and they hit the consignment, and those get damaged, actually has a huge amount of claim. And the simple thing is, when you look at it, or the packing, which can actually improve from the rainwater perspective, it can save you a lot of money. Now, most corporates feel that since the insurance company is paying for it, we do not worry about it. But what they don't realize is that at the end of the day, that premium comes back to them in terms of higher premium. So let's say if I have to finalize an insurance program for my, let's say, corporate, I would not take for small claims. I would take it a bit higher. What is going to hit my balance sheet? Small claims has to be handled and figured out by my own company, figuring out why these claims are happening and how we stop it. It is more about housekeeping, about process orientation, about getting it right. So that will bring down your premium cost, because the chartered accountant, I think one thing which is there is always there, the premium cost should be there. But big events, let's say a cyber crime happens, let's say a explosion happens, let's say a fire happens, let's say, if a D&O triggers off, if let's say, a liability triggers off, product liability triggers off, or a complete consignment gets washed away, when big claims happen, that's going to affect my balance sheet. So all that which can happen and trigger is a conversation I have with the insurance company, and what is the size at which I should start my insurance program, and take that in a way that I'm able to cover all the big risks. And that premium I shall pay very happy. And my only prayer to the God would that I should never be able to trigger a claim on that instance that something should go wrong. But those would be real big claims, which is going to affect my balance sheet. So in a way, I'll be able to get very good covers. I'll be able to reduce the premium also by eliminating the small day-to-day claims which is happening. It's more of my housekeeping and my event. And those will be the big events when the trigger is going to affect my company. And if I'm able to defend the balance sheet well, I think that is what my purpose would be as a chartered accountant, from a perspective of giving advice. That's the way, Rajiv, I would do my risk management for a company which I would be looking at.
One important, this is the Mr. Singhel. One important, grudges that today corporates have was, you are sort of not able to provide me with coverages that I look forward to. For example, the pandemic cover, which is the latest thing which has come in, and we saw a lot of corporates, a lot of queries which have come to various insurance companies and to reinsurers. That was, I have a stoppage of my business without any damage, to my assets and property. However, daily I am losing X amount of my profits. So please give me a pandemic cover, or please give me an options to have a pandemic cover. So, what has been done till now, and especially we are looking at the third wave now, second is already passed, almost passing. So this is something that India INC is really look forward to, and I would like, from you as MD and CEO of Bajaj Allianz, part of Allianz Group, please enlighten us, and how do we see any possibility, in this financial year coming, especially the wave 3 is coming or likely to come, how soon can we have this product in India?
Okay, it's a very good question, Rajiv. And I think I'll talk about 2-3 things, and you'll find it very interesting to hear the answers. So first is, when the first wave hit, my worry as an insurer was, and as a thought leader for the industry, was that the biggest issue was migrant laborers and salary of employees, because that got shut down and migrant laborers were forced to move, and actually the pandemic started spreading with that, and the salary employees got cut or reduced, or layoffs started happening. So the economy got a hit on that basis. And I was thinking that one thing we could do was that provide standing cover charges for that. And for that, we should create a pool as an industry, the pandemic pool. And one of my first early speeches, I thought, and I mentioned about the pandemic pool creation, like we had created a terrorist pool, if you remember, way back. And that's when the Mumbai terrorism and all the event happened, we could pay off very, very comfortably. So we said we should create a pandemic pool. And as an industry, we put together, and then we put the thought to our regulator. The regulator created a committee for the pandemic pool, and they put in a suggestion for the government. So if I look at the industry can put together, let's say 5,000 odd crores, and the government has to back it up by about close to 60-70,000 crores. It's a backing up. If things go wrong, the government should be able to pay that. Most countries across the world have this backing from the government. Now I see a lot of announcements, happening that this is what we are going to allow for the economy, and this is what's going to happen. But a simple thing like a pandemic pool, if put in place, and when a trigger happens, corporates who have this cover is going to actually help them, be able to take care of the expenses and charges. But the response is still awaited from the government for the pool to get created, because then that is how it is going to happen. But I'm happy to say that at least up to the regulatory perspective, they have given the recommendation. It's gone to the ministry. The industry has also supported that. A pool, actually, it has to have a size of 80,000 crore to 90,000 crore to take care of this kind of magnitude of problem. no, is in the offline. Now, let me talk about something which you'll find very, very interesting. Now, let's say, Rajiv, if a house is on fire and you say, okay, right now, can you give me an insurance cover for this? No. It's too late. No. But let us say, if you have more houses to be covered, insurance cover can be provided for it. And I mentioned this in one of my, again, gatherings, and it was, again, with learned people around. I said, if you want a pandemic cover, and you will not get for COVID now, one is the pool creation, that obviously would take care of it. But if you want a pandemic cover right now, send me an email. I can give a pandemic cover for future pandemic events today also. Because this is already like house on fire. This pandemic is already on. We know third wave is coming, second wave is on. So for this, obviously, you will have to have government support, and you'll have to have a pool creation in which some trigger can be looked into. But let us say future pandemic now. And I was surprised to see not a single email came to me by thousands of participants who were looking for pandemic cover to get their corporates covered for future pandemic. That cover is available, Rajiv. COVID-19, you'll not get a cover now. It's too late. Your house is already on fire. So it's too late. But future pandemic cover, you can still buy. That is what it shows, that when it comes to insurance, the problem is we were thinking of insurance when the event is triggered. When the cyber liabilities happen or product liabilities happen, or claims have happen, we should actually think of insurance when things are good. Pandemic cover was available even before COVID struck. Pandemic cover is available for the future pandemics. But now expectation is the next pandemic will come after 100 years, because after Spanish flu, this one came. But what we forget is, if you look at statistics, this pandemic was on the way. In fact, the TED talk of Bill Gates, and he actually mentioned that the pandemic would be coming. Now, how did he do that? He's not an astrologer. Simply because he was observing SARS has happened, Ebola has happened. In a 10-year, 12-year frequency, a major event was happening. An epidemic was happening. Pandemic had not happened. But when the build-up was happening, a big thing was coming into the play. And that's what happened. Now, are we thinking the next pandemic will come after 100 years? No. We may be wrong. We may have a third wave. We may not have a third wave. We may have fifth wave, sixth wave also. Nobody is sure. All that we read about. In fact, a very popular joke which I heard when somebody asked somebody that, what do you think about the pandemic? And the person said, I'm not a journalist. I can't answer this question. The issue is that nobody knows how many waves will be there. There'll be no waves. Nobody knows when the next pandemic come or not. So my humble request would be, please look at it seriously. One, the recommendation for a pool creation already gone to the ministry. Second is that for future pandemics, you can still get a cover. But would you want to buy one?
Mr. Singhel, I want to ask a question. See, Institute is running a few scheme on the medical insurance for members, and the policy is with New India. We are planning to take a super top-up for our members. So one, and pardon my ignorance if this question is not already been answered, if you can explain the importance or the benefits of super top-up, maybe the difference between top-up and super top-up. And also, I'm asking that, if you would like to offer a super top-up product to the members of ICAI, then certainly, it is my committee who looks into this. So it's certainly be keen. So while I understand the super top-up, I've taken the super top-up, maybe for the benefit of everyone, if you can just also explain, if this has not already been answered.
Thank you, Sanjeev. So don't trigger me on salesmanship. Then I'll start selling to all of you. but let me talk on the subject, sir.
Health insurance.
Yeah, health insurance. So if I look at it on a product basis, when somebody asks me at an individual level, how should I buy health insurance? And how should I look at cover? So let me answer that question, because then I think broadly on the group basis, we'll be able to understand it. So I tell people, first and foremost, think what a normal surgery would cost you. Normal surgery. I'm not talking of surgery for heart or for dialysis or cancer. I'm just talking about normal surgery. How much will it cost you in a hospital, a good hospital you want to go? So let us say the answer is 2 lakh or 3 lakh rupees. So I would say take a base cover of 3 lakh rupees, which is for normal surgery. Because the premium for taking a full blown up cover up to 10 lakh rupees is going to be very expensive, for a normal person. So a base cover of 3 lakh rupees. On top of it, if I take a top up, which triggers after 3 lakh rupees, the premium falls substantially even for 10 lakh top up. So if you combine a top up with the base policy, then it's good. Now top up also, how much will I take? So the next level is that if I remove the critical surgeries, what is the cost of surgery which is happening? So let us say roughly a 10 lakh cover is a good cover to have. So a 10 lakh top up. So I will take a 3 lakh base cover. I will take a 10 lakh top up, and then I'll take critical illness, which is for critical surgeries. And that I would take as a benefit policy, not a policy which is on reimbursement basis. Let's understand two differences. There are two kind of health policies in the market. One is on reimbursement, which means that if we incur expenses, that gets reimbursed by insurance companies. So these two I spoke to you about, the base policy and the top up, they would be reimbursement policies. And I'll take a critical illness, which is a benefit policy. Benefit policy means that if I contract the illness and if I survive, let us say whatever period is kept, 15 days, 30 days, full sum insured gets paid to me. So let's say if I take a 30 lakh sum insured or 50 lakh sum insured, why is it critical? Is when I have a critical illness, it is going to be a long drawn out process. Critical illness will cover heart surgery, it will cover cancer, it will cover kidney, you cover the major illnesses which is there. But 25 or 30 is listed in that. Some companies have more, but mostly 25, 30 is company. I'll take a cover for that, let's say for a 50 lakh cover. So what happens is, now if I add the three policies together, and there's one more fourth, which I normally say that if you've taken this three, take that too. Then for about a reasonable cost, which I have paid for a 10 lakh or 15 lakh, full blown up cover, I'd actually get a full cover of 50 lakh, which gets triggered when something goes wrong, and I get the full money with me. I get a base cover, which takes care of regular illnesses. I get a top up cover, which if it exceeds, it takes that. And the fourth policy, which I tell my friends is, it is called hospital cash. It's a very cheap policy. It gives you 1,000 rupees per day of hospitalization. So people ask me, why do you tell this? I said, this takes care of all the visitor expenses. Chai, pani, nasta, jo bhi hai, 1,000 rupees per day. It doesn't matter about, again, whether you have a policy on it. It pays you per day 500,000, whatever limit you've taken, 2,500 rupees per day, it pays you that. If you take these four policies together, you are very, very secure, in terms of whatever may go wrong.
So roughly, what will be the amount of insurance which we will have, like a payment which we will be paying? Roughly.
No, sir. If you look at it, sir, for a 10 lakh, it depends on age. 10 lakh cover.
You just mentioned about 15 lakhs. You just mentioned.
Let's say the 10 lakh cover top up will cost you about 3,000 rupees a year. So it's ridiculously low, sir. That's what I'm trying to say. The base can take full 10 lakh, it touches 25,000 rupees and it goes through. So the way you plan health policies is you should plan it like this, and then you're secure. Now, as an institution, you're giving it, Sanjeev sir, it's a very good thing to do. But honestly, as individuals, if you don't have it, it's a very sad thing to do. From day zero, I've been in job. I have my own health cover. It's irrespective of what my company provides me. And I actually have all this top up which I've told you. I have this cover structured the way I've told you, which I bought for myself. Institutions today may provide, tomorrow may not provide. But as I get older, for me to get a good cover, which covers all my illnesses of pre-existing, gets difficult. So my recommendation to all of you would be, if institution provides you, be very happy. You are part of a very great institution. At individual level, please have your cover the way I explained to you. That is the best way I have structured for myself. So I thought what I think is good for me will be good for all my friends. And that's why I mentioned that to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tapanji. In fact, our base policy covers hospital cash as well. And certainly we will be looking for a super top up. Yeah. Thank you.
Tapan sir, the most talked about insurance policy as far as corporates today is concerned is the cyber policy, as you've also correctly mentioned, and Mrs. Sharma also does currently mention. So from your perspective, what is the kind of cover, the cyber cover right now, which the corporates have presently in terms of the penetration, and what are the coverages and affordability around that for corporates, and what do you recommend? Should the cyber policy be a part of their compulsory list, or should it be on an evaluation basis? The cyber policy.
Rajiv, it should be on compulsory list. I've seen cyber attacks happen. I've seen you're hearing all this ransomware and all. I have claims, and I can't give you names. It's actually happening, and those things are triggering at a very, very fast pace, which let's say 3 years back I never thought it's happening. We don't have a good cyber cover. If we don't have a good ransomware cover, please take it. Not only at for corporate level, at individual levels also. we have a lot of claims which are getting triggered. So it's very critical. It may get too late, if you miss it, because again, you have all this event which is actually happening. So it's a good question, Rajiv. If I would recommend everybody at an individual level also, at a corporate level, to look at the cyber cover. Your insurance company will be able to help you, figure out what limits should be there. Normally, insurance companies don't give you an advice as such because that's not their job to do. But indicative, they can tell you this is what other companies like you have taken. So this is something that you can decide to do. But please engage insurance companies for the cyber cover and also ask for individual cyber cover also. It's actually critical. It's happening. It's not something which we are thinking will happen for the future. We have many claims and we are actually seeing it happen now.
So talking about this,
Singhel, sir, there is one question. Can I take it? There is one question, sir. Guide on loss of income, job and support during disability.
Yeah. So if you look at loss of income or job, there are two things which is there. In a personal accident cover, which is again not very expensive. It's a very, very, how many of us would actually know that for a pure death cover on personal accident, the premium is for 1 lakh rupees, 45 rupees in a year. Can you imagine? It's just 45 rupees a year. No, it is that cheap. But obviously, we take an extended policies. You actually have in that per week payment, which triggers off for disability on that basis, which is particular part of the sum insured which is there. So you have a cover on the personal accident extension in which you can take this, which is not a job loss also. Even if you have job continuing on a per week basis of your disability, you have a compensation which gets paid off. So that would take care to a large extent. Even if you have a job loss, you don't have a job loss also, you still get paid, then money will trigger off. So it's not a very expensive cover. Ask for a personal accident and extended extension of the per week disability cover which is there. So you'll get that. Second, I think a lot of queries come to me on EMI for job losses. I think as a company, a lot of us provide that. 3 EMIs or 4 EMIs if a job loss happens. And that was also there. Again, it's a very interesting thing. This product was always there even with the pandemic. Now companies are very cautious in the current circumstances. But if somebody had this job loss cover, their EMIs, 3 months or 6 months EMIs were covered if they lost a job for certain reasons.
Fair enough. Thank you, Mr. Singhel, for this piece of advice again. One more very prominent question comes up, in a lot of discussions is that, we keep on looking at this question as to what are the reasons for the lower penetration of a general insurance business, because we are on the general insurance topic. So why is India having a population of almost 450 crores and industry and industry assets, so big industry assets everywhere. So why is the general insurance business so low, the penetration point of view? What would be the reasons? And from your perspective, what we as corporates or as chartered accountants should do and enable our clients, to bridge the gap or lower this gap of general insurance penetration in India?
It's a very good question and very close to my heart. I'll tell you why. So first, let me challenge the statement of low penetration. In terms of GDP, a lot of people talk about 0.8% GDP or 1% GDP. It actually is more from a perspective of the international way they look at it. If you look at it, in terms of number of lives covered, if you see from that perspective, it's a very good penetration. I think quite a number of lives are covered by the insurance company. So I think we have to change the definition because a huge number of people get covered. As I told, as a company alone, I cover 11 crore Indians, which means that every 1 in 13 Indians are insured by me, just one company, which is a huge penetration. A 20-year-old company, if it has 11 crore customers, you can imagine, and we have so many companies put together. So the penetration in terms of number of lives touched or covered, or let's say if I may say I cover 1 in 6 households, in every 6th household you'll have an insurance covered by Bajaj Insurance company. So it's a very good penetration. The problem is when you look at a percentage of GDP, and that it has got two, numerator and denominator, and since chartered accountant, you understand, if the economy is growing very fast, and then if the insurance free pricing happened in 2007, prices actually fell down. So most of you will be aware that the motor insurance fell down by 60-70%, the fire insurance fell down by 70-80%. So while you have the GDP moving up and the prices falling down, so that contradictory effect would have on the percentage basis. So that gives a wrong impression that penetration would be low. In terms of number of lives covered, I think it would be one of the very high penetration in terms of insurance company. But coming to the other point of it, why is that people are not adequately insured and why don't they see insurance as something which is very interesting? Now, this has always been a challenge which I've been thinking. I'm a scientist by education. I would think that it's very funny. As I told you, for 1 lakh rupees of cover of accidental death, the premium is 45 rupees a year. In India, who can't afford 45 rupees a year? We are talking about what? 1.5 rupees a month, no, as premium. No, it is amazing. If you look at Corona cover, no, Corona cover is available. Now let's look at a phenomenal thing. People say awareness has to be there. All of us are aware that Corona can happen to anybody. Okay. Now all of us are aware that normal average cost of a Corona claim is 2 lakh rupees. No, if it happens to anybody, go to hospital. Average cost is 2 lakh. It can go up to 10 lakh, 15 lakhs, but average cost is 2 lakh rupees. Third, you'll be happy to know that the Corona policy is available for, let's say, 607 rupees a year, which means that we're talking of something like what, not even 20 rupees or 30 rupees, or 1 rupees, 2 rupees a day kind of, for this cover. And then it's also available without any underwriting. You go to any insurance company website, log in, 2 clicks, you get the policy. So ease of process is there, awareness is very high, and threat is very high. No underwriting, straight through process. So whatever you can think of, Rajiv.
For Corona, sir, you said, but we don't know, sir, because we got it for my brother and my bhavi. We paid 25,000 rupees. They both are about 60 years of age. We paid 25,000.
No, what's for hospitalization or for premium?
Sir, we paid for the premium. Like
that you took the health policy, sir, not pure Corona policy. You
okay.
have pure Corona policy, sir, no?
No, I took pure Corona policy. I took pure Corona policy. I took only for that only for 6 months. For 6 months only, sir.
No. So then please send me a mail, sir. I have to look at it. Pure Corona policy doesn't cost. It's just about 607 rupees, sir. No.
They both are about 60 years of age.
So maybe
for 6 months, the insurance company, national insurance companies charge me 21,000 or 25,000.
No, it will not be a pure Corona product, sir. I can guarantee you on the price you're saying. They may have told you it's a Corona product, sir, but honestly, I can guarantee you it will be a full health policy. At 25,000 rupees, you'll get you a full health policy. Pure Corona product, it costs you very less and does not require underwriting, sir. No. So you send me an email. I know Tejinder, who is the MD for National. Luckily, I've been in the industry for a long time. I nearly know everybody, sir, in the industry. I can write to her also. Please send me a mail. I'll help you with it. But honestly, by what you tell me, it's a full-blown product, sir. A pure Corona
Mr.
product.
Singhel,
you go to any website.
Mr. Singhel, I also agree with you because I have also seen the premiums ranging about maybe 3,000 to 5,000 for a family of 5. I wanted to ask you one additional question. If our normal medical insurance cover is sufficient, like in my case, I have a 20 lakh base cover and a 60 lakh super top-up. If whether Corona treatment is also covered?
Yeah, it's covered, sir. I'm just coming to a point that is different, sir. So you need not buy a Corona policy. It's just covered in that, sir. No? In India, we don't exclude Corona from the claims. So the point I'm going to tell you is, sir, everything is so well covered, but look at the penetration. Now, 40 crores Indians are covered by national health scheme by the government, which is the below poverty line. The total number of lives covered by insurance companies is about 13 crores, which is 53 crores. In a population of 130 crores, about 70 odd crore people who can afford 2 rupees a month don't have an insurance cover for any kind of health cover. So, Rajiv, insurance company servers should be crashing, no? अगर 2 रुपए महीना का पॉलिसी लेना है, सिंगल जाओ, सर्वर पे जाओ, क्लिक करो, 2 click में can buy a policy. Corona can happen to anybody. 70 crore Indians should be buying Corona cover. I'm not talking about poor people. That is covered by national scheme. I'm not talking about 13 crore Indians, like you who have cover. I'm talking 70 crore Indians who can afford don't have it. Now, this is where the question comes in. Why is it that insurance penetration is low? Now, this is what we have to answer, Rajiv, to answer your question that you asked me. The issue is, and I asked a lot of people this question, and I'm not talking about the Corona right now, very early times. I see insurance products, amazing products, very well priced, exceptionally good benefits, and the claim gets paid is huge. Why is it so? So one of my psychologist friends told me this, and that's the answer to your question, Rajiv, that the human brain is not wired to see risks. No, as chartered accountants, you will differ because you are wired to see a lot of risks. But the normal human brain is not wired to see risks. Now, let me explain this to you also, and I can do it in a very simple term. When you were young means when you were in early 20s, the speed at which you rode your motorcycle, and today at what speed you ride your motorcycle?
True.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that time
That's the answer.
you did not care anything about risk. So the problem with insurance is it is very valuable for every one of us. It's an amazing product to buy. Any insurance company, everybody pays claim. The insurance industry's combined ratio is 120%, which means for every 100 rupees, they're selling 120 rupees now as an outgo. Amazing product, amazing coverage, very well priced, but we still don't buy it. It's to do with the way our brains are wired. Even as corporates, the way we look at it goes to last preference. Now, having said that, what is it required for people to understand? Like when I'm speaking to all of you, I guarantee you, most of you will go and look at Corona product right now. No, I guarantee you. It requires a conversation. So insurance is a conversational sale. It is not like e-commerce that you will buy on Amazon. It requires distribution of people who speak about it. And chartered accountants, to me, are the profession, at least for the corporate world, to speak about it. And that's why I'm here, Rajiv, when you invited me. I thought it's very, very critical to talk about this point. So it's a very good question, Rajiv. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, wonderful, Mr. Singhel. And we are really delighted the way you have explained, the psychological aspect as to why people are, there is a lower penetration in India, and as we grow up, so we think, and the mindset changes on the product. Another aspect, on the corporate side of insurance is the liability, which we have seen in the last 5 to 7 years. Personally, I've seen over the last 15 years, this space, the liability exposures onto India and to the corporates are on the rise. And whether we're talking about directors and officers liability or a cyber liability of late, or a product liability, or a PI, or an errors and omission, or a general commercial liability. Now, we wanted to understand, what would be your sense as to how important has this liability space become, and what are the kind of claims that you are seeing, as the head of Bajaj Allianz Insurance, as to what are the kind of claims coming in, A, and B, what are your advice and guidance for corporates and for chartered accountants like us as to how to look at this risk in the near term, and whether we should look at this like a fire product and make a compulsory buying in, or we should leave it as an evaluation basis.
So, Rajiv, there are two big audit firms, and I'll not talk of the names and not talk of the clients also, but you'll be aware. And my claims there is touching close to 1,000 crores on liability, for them, and they are covered by me, and I'm actually, paying that. Don't underestimate liability. Well, it is actually, again, like I always try to relate it first to your personal experience, and I talk about the corporate, because then you understand better. How many of us have two-wheelers which is not insured? And we think it is not insured because kya hoga, even if it falls also 2,000, 3,000 rupees, some bumper, some dent, we'll prepare it. Do we know that on a two-wheeler in Gujarat, I have a claim of 15 crores of liability, the third-party liability. Well, if the two-wheeler kills somebody, mandated by law, your unlimited liability is a 15 crore liability. Now, let's say the two-wheeler is uninsured, and one of us had that, we would still have a 15 crore judgment by the court on us as liability. So did we realize that our two-wheeler, which is uninsured, and we don't bother about it, can have a 30 crore liability on us? Imagine a company, auditors, you are hugely susceptible to liability. 1,000 crores, two claims each. I've already reached that. And the two big cases which happen in India. The claims are still on of two big audit firms. I'm paying that 1,000 crores. Yeah. Individual level, two-wheelers. So if you have not insured your two-wheeler, thinking 500,000 claim hoga, main dekh lunga kaun jayega insurance company mein. You are sitting on liability, you can go to 30 crores to 100 crores also. Now, if your two-wheeler kills me, you're dead. You have to pay something like crores. Yeah.
And that's a legal liability. That's a legal liability.
You can't back out. No, it's all legal. Liability is legal. That's what I say. As chartered accountants, if you don't have a cover, it is like I don't know what words to use. For your company to cover, it is that important. It really goes to amounts you can't even imagine. No, you can't even imagine. So that's why I give example of two-wheeler. Did you ever imagine your two-wheeler can give you 30 crore claim on you as an individual? No, by the government of India.
Yeah. No. So I think that
that is what liability is. No?
that talks about what the importance of liability is in India, and I think the lot of our members who are listening us live now would definitely look at liability as one of the key important features that they should protect their balance sheets also, whether on the individual as a basis as a practicing chartered accountants, their firms, or while sitting in corporates. Thank you, Mr. Singhel. That was a wonderful piece of advice. And I'm sure many chartered accountants who are listening to us will definitely now look in their corporate risk profile liability as a must take-in product to buy alongside the fire and marine insurances.
I suppose, Rajiv says, still our members require a good food of thought to teach them that how they should take insurance, even how they should advise to their clients for insurance matters. We are having very less in knowledge, frankly speaking. We require lots of sessions on these topics, which are very essential, and particularly now in this digital area. Now, all firms, they are required to have coverage for their professional work also. That is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sanjeevji, would you like to comment on this aspect, on the liability part?
Yeah, absolutely, Rajiv. I've been a very strong advocate of insurance. Personally, I've taken probably all types of insurance which an individual can take, right from a medical insurance to a super top-up to a household insurance policy to a mobile policy and the house building insurance. So I certainly believe that, and of course the term insurance. Many times people say, even for example, term insurance, that we will not get anything. So we should take a policy which will pay back at least our premium. I said, you think if you are not required to take it, think it as a blessing and think as a donation to someone who was not as fortunate as you were. So insurance certainly be taken. Of course, wow. I mean, and for the corporates are concerned, throughout my life for 15 years, I worked in the corporates. So insurance is a very integral part of cost. Rajiv, you were heading the insurance portfolio at Jubilant, where I was working with you. So certainly, the need of insurance, I will not be able to overemphasize, but certainly it is required. And our members also, we are always in search for the better insurance product that we can offer. Currently, we have 6 insurance products, including professional indemnity, personal accident insurance, and the household insurance, medical insurance, etc. But of course, we would like to offer them more and more. So I'm a very strong proponent of insurance.
And one thing I would like to add, thank you, Sanjeev. One thing I would like to add after this liability, exposures that and the claims which Mr. Singhel had, said the 2 big audit firms in India, they are, close to 1,000 crores of liability claims they have reached, and it's on an outgo basis. So I think that says it all. And on the liability piece, what small advice I can give to all the members over here is that liability is not like a fire product. Liability, although the product is available in India, and most of the private as well as the PSU insurers are selling liability for more than 10 years in India now, but the understanding of liability, to understand what kind of liability exposures you have on your balance sheet and off balance sheet liability exposures, whether it is a DNO or a PI or a product liability or a cyber liability, it is very important to understand the exposures around liability and get hold of a good advisor, whether you're an insurer, a broker, or a consultant, who is going to guide you through and make sure that you have got the right kind of contract offered by various insurers who have the global wordings presently. Global RA wordings are available in India on the liability products, and it's a wonderful cover which is available. I have been advocating liability exposures and products and contracts for many of my clients, and I'm also glad that they have bought it, and the rains have come, and they are able to take good cover and good protection under those covers they have already opted under the liability. Wonderful.
So thank you very much, Mr. Singhel. I would like to request Prakashji to say a few words of word of thanks for both Rajivji and Tapanji, And our panelist, our text guru, the guru of all, Dr. Girish Ahuja sir has already joined. And we would now like to start this session. But before this session, please convey our sincere thanks from all of us, Prakash Bhai, to both Mr. Tapan Singhel and Rajiv Sen Gupta ji.
My first sincere thanks to you, Sanjeev ji, sir. You brought such wonderful speakers today for our members. And believe it, Sanjeev Bhai, it was eye-opening even for me. I had been a central auditor for New India Insurance Company for 4 years. And I used to think, the way you said that I am taking lots of insurance. Well, I am also taking lots of insurance, but I pay not less than 50,000 rupees yearly. And I don't know what insurance exactly I am taking. So these areas are very, very important for we members particularly. And particularly from last year, the way digital system has come in our profession, the way we are working in a technology side, we require lots of insurance for our advice for our clients as well as for our own office to cover our own risk. That is very, very important. I'm sincerely thankful to Tapanji as well as Rajivji sir. And we will definitely be bothering you again for informing our members. I think we are not able to inform our member that exactly in this session, what type of knowledge we'll be going to give them. I will try to manage in such a way that members should know that exactly what kind of information we'll be sharing with them. So I'm very sure after that, there will not be less than 25,000-30,000 people, because this is very, very important. This is very, very important thing, sir. So that's great. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Tapan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.